Let's preview the Pittsburgh Pirates up next on Fantasy Baseball Today. Welcome to On the Beat, our mini team preview series here at Fantasy Baseball Today. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Jose Negron, who covers the Pirates for DK Pittsburgh Sports. Make sure to give him a follow on X at JNegronPGH. And let's just start off with the Pirates offseason. They're actually trying, kind of. Let's talk about that. They traded Johan Oviedo over to the Red Sox for the password Yostinson Garcia. They acquired Brandon Lau, Jake Mangum, and Mason Montgomery from the Rays in that 3-team trade that sent Mike Burrows over to the Astros. They signed Ryan O'Hearn to a 2-year deal. They signed Gregory Soto to a 1-year deal. So, look, Pirates fans and baseball fans, I think alike, have been clamoring for the Pirates to add any type of offense to this lineup while they have Paul Skenes on their team. And they have done that this offseason. They have added some players. Obviously, you would like them to add a little bit more. Maybe they go after like a Suarez or a Marcelo Ozuna, something like that. But, Jose, I think this is a good start. What do you think about the Pirates offseason so far? Do you think it's enough for them to compete in the NL Central, maybe a wild card spot, the way that they are constituted right now?
Yeah, I think things have looked a lot different than in years past. And at the beginning of the offseason, there was talk of, we need to be more aggressive. We need to go out and improve a lineup that was one of Major League Baseball's worst this past season. And to supplement that pitching staff, as you mentioned, Paul Skenes is arguably the best pitcher in baseball. And it doesn't just stop there. I mean, they have guys like Mitch Keller, Bubba Chandler, Braxton Ashcraft, a lot of young arms that they can rely on. And you got to supplement that with good offense. And last year, they weren't able to do that because, you look at the amount of one-run losses that they had, the times when guys were going 6+ innings and the offense wasn't putting up any run support. It was frustrating for the Pirates. So they went out, they added some bats. They added 2 all-stars to the mix. They added 2 guys who are a little more unproven in Jake Mangum and Yostinson Garcia, but still a lot of potential there. And then 2 hard-throwing left-handers in Mason Montgomery and Gregory Soto. So I think there's still work to do. They're still trying to go out and improve the offense, maybe still 1 bat away from this lineup maybe looking a little more formidable and maybe a little more in the realm of competing for a playoff spot. Because you mentioned the NL Central, it's always a dogfight. The Brewers are always really good. The Cubs always have talent. I mean, you look at what they just did, being able to sign Alex Bregman, trading for Edward Cabrera. So a lot to compete with in the National League Central, but the Pirates, a couple more moves, and maybe they can kind of move the needle a little bit more and at least compete for a wild card spot.
Let's talk about a big fantasy question, and this one is on everybody's mind. I don't know if you have the answer, but we'll try our best to answer this question together. Konnor Griffin, Baseball America's top prospect in all of baseball. He was just voted, prospect of the year this past season. Just a ridiculous year. He hit .333, 21 home runs, 65 steals. He got up to AA. He got better every time he moved up a level this past season, but he is young. He's only 19 years old. There has been talk that he's going to be in camp with the team and that they're going to give him a real shot to win their starting shortstop job for opening day. Do you believe that? Do you think that they are really giving him a fair shot to win this job? And as of now, what would you give Konnor Griffin's chances of being up on opening day?
Yeah, I think he deserves every opportunity to show what he can do and see if he can continue, the momentum that he built in his first professional season. I mean, it was just so incredibly special to see a player of his caliber do everything, hit for power. He had the arm, the fielding ability. I mean, he showed that he's capable of being, a shortstop at the professional level, the speed, 65 stolen bases. I mean, just what he was able to do at every step. You mentioned just at every level, being able to do it at low A, high A, continuing that at AA Altoona. That was a big question, was can he continue to get better at every level? And he's done that. And I think he'll get every opportunity. He is going to Major League camp as a non-roster invite. I think he'll get the chance to show what he can do. If he overwhelms the Pirates and at least gives them a tough decision to make, I think that's, a great sign. I don't know. I wouldn't put the chances super great that he makes the team because I feel like he just has to really overwhelm them to say, like, all right, well, he's giving us no choice. Like 2 years ago, Jared Jones did the same thing. I know it's two different situations. Jared Jones is a little more seasoned as a pitcher, at the time when he made the major league team out of opening day or out of spring training. But if Konnor Griffin can, leave them with no other choice, then I wouldn't say it's impossible. I think that it's certainly a possibility. But I think that the bigger possibility is that he impresses and maybe starts the season at AAA, and we see him at some point this season. I think that you're going to see Konnor Griffin at some point in 2026, and I think once he gets up to the major league level, he's going to make an immediate impact. I mean, he's just that type of player. I know he's 19 years old. I know there's still more growth, but even just the way the kid handles himself, and he knows that there's still room to grow, and he's always really just battling and working to get better. So I think the sky's the limit for Konnor Griffin. He's the number one prospect in baseball for a reason. People are saying that he's, the best prospect since, Mike Trout, which is a big, a good comparison and a big honor, I'm sure, for him to be compared to a player of Trout's caliber. But yeah, the sky's the limit for Konnor Griffin. We'll see if he's up on opening day, but I think we see him at some point in 2026.
A quick follow-up there, and again, you might not have the answer, so we're just kind of guessing things here. If he's not up on opening day, when do you think he would be up within the season? Because there are people that believe if he's not up on opening day, maybe they just keep him all the way down until August when, they could call him up and preserve that rookie eligibility for the following season when they can, if he's up on opening day, then he can compete for a draft pick, yada, yada. So, do you believe that? Do you think if he's not up on opening day, we're not seeing him until like August or September to preserve that rookie eligibility?
Yeah, I think it would all kind of depend on the situation. If the Pirates are in a good spot in May or June, and they are kind of like, all right, well, we need like an offensive boost. We need somebody to go over to shortstop. If there are injuries, if there are, just different scenarios that might pop up, then you might see Konnor Griffin earlier, especially if he's continuing to hit like he did at those lower levels. If he's doing that at AAA, I might say like, hey, it's time. He's young, but he's proving that he has nothing left to prove in the minor leagues. So we could potentially see that. I mean, we saw with Paul Skenes, and I know, again, a different situation because, he was an older player, went through the college ranks and maybe was a little more prepared to get to the big leagues in May of 2024. But maybe we could see that with Konnor Griffin as well. It would depend, I think, on the team situation and maybe how he's doing down in the minor leagues if we see him earlier rather than later in the year.
All right, let's take a quick break and we'll be back right after this.
This isn't just combat. It's cinema.
Ready or not, here I come. Let's go! Are you not entertained?
The new home of UFC, Paramount Plus.
Welcome back in Fantasy Baseball. Today we are here previewing the Pittsburgh Pirates for 2026. Let's get into a sleeper, Jose. Who do you have here for the Pirates this season?
Yeah, there's a couple names I was kind of cycling through, and I'm going to go with a guy who, obviously, one of the newcomers that we talked about, one of the guys in that three-team trade that brought Brandon Lau over to Pittsburgh, and obviously Brandon Lau was the centerpiece of that deal. But a guy like Jake Mangum is really intriguing. Just what he was able to do as a 29-year-old rookie in 2025, what he's able to do as a hitter, hit 296, 698 OPS last season, in a large sample size too of over 400 at-bats, 3 homers, 40 RBIs, 18 doubles. Was able to steal 27 bases. I mean, he's the type of guy that you can have at the top or bottom of your lineup. I think time will tell what his role is. If he gets more of a regular role with the Pirates, maybe, earns that opportunity during the spring. But he's an intriguing, sleeper candidate for me just because of what he's able to bring. He plays the type of baseball that I think the Pirates really should play, just brings that energy every day. He's a guy who's going to get on base at the top or bottom of your lineup and steal some bases. He talked this past weekend at Pirates Fest, and he mentioned he's always focused on 90 feet. It's baseball is a game of 90 feet. You always want to advance and get to that next base. And that's the type of mentality that Jake Mangum has. And I think that's a good mentality to bring into this Pirates lineup. I think he's going to have I think he could have a sneaky good season. I mean, he obviously had a really good year as a rookie with Tampa Bay last year. But if he could continue that and bring that into year number 2 in his first season with the Pirates, I think it's going to make an impact on the team, and it can make an impact on fantasy owners as well.
Yeah, in deeper leagues, we're always looking for batting average and speed. Those are two things that Jake Mangum should provide. Last year, hit .296 with 27 steals in only 118 games. And if you look at his minor league career, that's a lot of what he's done. It's batting average, it's speed. You should not expect any power at all. But for those deeper leagues, if you do need those particular categories, batting average and speed, I do think Jake Mangum is a name that you should be targeting. What about a breakout? I think there are a few options here as well for the Pirates. Who do you have this upcoming season?
Yeah, I was looking through a few options there too, and you know, I was in a way I was kind of considering Bubba Chandler, but then I was also like, well, you know, he's also one of the top prospects in baseball, so you kind of expect him, especially what he was able to do in a smaller sample size last year. You're probably expecting him to break out, you know, in general, just because of, you know, his pedigree and what he's been able to do at the minor league level and now at the major league level. But I'm going to go with Braxton Ashcraft. He's a guy that last year, 26 appearances at the big league level, 8 starts. Every role that he was put in whenever he got called up to the big league level, he thrived in. Whether he was, you know, in long relief, whether he was coming in to start, he was a guy that was putting up quality results and was being productive within that pitching staff. And that's the type of guy, I think, if you're a manager, if you're a pitching coach, they obviously have a new pitching coach in Bill Murphy this season. That's the type of guy you want. You know, you want a guy who's willing to do whatever it takes to help a team win. I think Braxton Ashcraft is going to get a good opportunity to be in that starting rotation to start the season. And if you look at his numbers of last year, 2.71 ERA, 1.25 WHIP between, you know, the bullpen appearances and also being in that starting rotation, and a 2.16 ERA as a starter, 3.22 ERA as a reliever. So regardless of what they choose to do, he's going to be productive. I think he's going to be able to have a breakthrough year. But I do see him as being a legitimate starting rotation candidate, especially, you know, you mentioned Johan Oviedo and Mike Burrows getting traded during the offseason. The pitching depth at the major league level isn't exactly what it was, you know, because of those deals, and obviously worthwhile, you know, trades because you're getting some bats in return. But I think that kind of clears the way a little bit more for Braxton Ashcraft to be a pretty important part of this starting rotation. And if he can continue what he, you know, like Mangum, if he can continue what he did during his rookie season, I think he can have a pretty solid year as a starter.
And to your point, I don't think they go out and make those trades if they didn't have confidence in the pieces that are left behind. So guys like Braxton Ashcraft and Carmen Majinski, who's probably going to get an opportunity early on until Jared Jones is ready to go. I think that they have confidence in some of these guys. And you actually gave me confidence to, I'm writing up my breakouts 1.0 for fantasy this season, and I have Braxton Ashcraft down as a deep breakout this season. Nasty breaking pitches that he has. He looked really good down the stretch as a starter too. So I'm pretty excited myself as well about Braxton Ashcraft this upcoming season. Big thanks to Jose Negron, who covers the Pirates for DK Pittsburgh Sports. Make sure to check out his work and give him a follow on X at JNegron_PGH. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to our On the Beat team preview series, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.